Think of a time when you had your very best friend by your side, the one that knows the real you, the one you share memories and inside jokes with and can call at 2 a.m. and you know they'd answer. Those kinds of friendships are golden. And then one day you may wake up and realize that for whatever reason, those friendships have started to fade. It's jarring, isn't it? Being surrounded by people and yet feeling completely alone. If you've been there, you're not the only one. In fact, in 2023, the United States Surgeon General declared that we are in an epidemic of loneliness and isolation. I've seen it myself. Over the past 2.5 years, I have hosted over 200 events for women seeking connection and friendship. At every event, I ask the attendees why they decided to join us. Relocation, retirement, divorce, death, an empty nest. There are countless reasons why we find ourselves in a lonely season. And loneliness doesn't just affect our mental health. One study showed that a lack of social connection can increase our risk of premature death as much as smoking up to 15 cigarettes a day. My lonely season started with my family's cross-country move. Now, I'm an extrovert, and I moved to a very social neighborhood, so I figured that making new friends was gonna be easy. I was wrong. I started chatting up moms at the playground. I went to neighborhood socials. I joined a church. I went to business networking events, and I met a lot of people. But still, years later, sitting in bed scrolling social media, I saw all the women that I knew, and they were out together at girls' nights, concerts, Christmas parties, and cookouts, and I was never invited. I figured they just didn't like me. Or maybe making friends as an adult is virtually impossible. Or perhaps we just moved to a really unfriendly city. Spoiler alert, none of those things were true. But after 4.5 years, I had had it. I made a decision to leave my loneliness and my self-pity behind and go on a journey to find my people. And when I did, I discovered the reason why, after 4.5 years, I still didn't have a friend group. It was my follow-through. It's kind of like golf. In golf, the difference between a weak shot and a winning one is your follow-through. If you stop the swing short, your shot falls flat. Just ask my husband. That was me. I would go out and meet lots of people, and then I never followed through. It felt a lot like middle school all over again. That familiar angst of waiting to be chosen, hoping that someone would pick me for their dodgeball team. But that's not how it works. That's a formula for acquaintance land, a place where everyone knows your name and no one knows you. So if you've been sitting on the sidelines and hoping that someone else would make the first move, then I want to invite you to consider tweaking your follow-through. How? Well, let's start with this really common example. It was so great meeting you. We should get together again sometime. We should. I'd love that. Then what happens? In my experience, absolutely nothing. Because life rushes in like a busy tidal wave and the date never gets set. Here's what I've learned. The end of a lonely season begins by making time for new friendships. So the next time that an opportunity presents itself, don't wait. Open up your calendar right then and there. Set a date. It sounds overly simple, but it works. And when you do that, that is going to set you up for your next opportunity to follow through, which is actually showing up. Showing up is a gift that you give yourself and the other person. Katie's one of our table hostesses, and she planned a lunch for 7 other women who were all looking to make new friends. Katie showed up at the restaurant and she was excited. Maybe today was a day that she would meet her new best friend. So Katie sat at the table and she waited for the ladies to arrive. Within 20 minutes, it became painfully clear. No one else was coming. She had just been stood up by every single person. The same women that signed up for the lunch because they wanted to make new friends. Here's what I've learned. To make a good friend, you first need to be a good friend. And that means showing up where and when you say you will. There is so much goodness that comes from a decision to actually show up. I once hosted a lunch for 12 women, and they were all looking to make new friends. So when they showed up at the restaurant, I divided them randomly in between 2 tables of 6. At one table, 4 of the women discovered that they were mothers with special needs children. And that day they left with a circle of support and friends that just got it. At my table, it turned out that 5 of us were faith-based entrepreneurs. Our lunch lasted for 3 hours, and it was filled with a kind of deep and meaningful conversation that I had been looking for years. 3 of those ladies are dear friends of mine to this day. A group of women showed up at a restaurant as strangers, and they left as friends. Showing up is what gave them the gift of true connection. Now, on my journey to find my people, I discovered one more area where I needed to improve my follow-through. And this one has been the hardest for me personally. It's following up. So shortly after I decided to go on this adventure to find friends, I went public with it. I had proclaimed on Instagram that I was a 44-year-old mom of 3 young kids, a successful entrepreneur, and I did not have a friend group, but I was gonna find some friends. And a woman named Becky saw that post, and she reached out to me. We started chatting back and forth, and it turned out she was looking for friends as well. We had children the same age, we lived in the same town, and so we decided to go and have coffee. And at coffee, we had an amazing time. We had so many shared interests. I felt like I had just met my new best friend. So after that, remember, we met on Instagram. So her stories and her reels kept showing up in my feed, and I saw that she was hosting these beautiful lunches and brunches in her home, and I wasn't invited. I started to feel that familiar sting of rejection. And then one day, when one of Becky's beautiful brunches showed up in my feed, it hit me. Why are you waiting for her to invite you? It's time to follow up. So I did. We set a date, I showed up, and we talked while our children played together. We had such a deep and meaningful conversation, and a beautiful friendship was born that day. I almost missed out on an opportunity for a life-giving friendship because I didn't follow up. And in case you're wondering, yes, I did finally get an invitation to one of Becky's beautiful brunches. Here's the thing. Whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, whether you live in a big city or a small town, no matter your age, there are countless opportunities for you to follow through and make deep and meaningful connections. The friendship formula is pretty simple. Follow through. Set a date, show up, follow up. We may be in a loneliness epidemic, but I believe that the solution may be surprisingly simple. Follow through. Imagine the possibilities if you follow through with the next person that you meet. They may become your new best friend. Someone you share memories and inside jokes with and can call at 2 a.m. and know they'd answer. You hold the key to those golden friendships. I believe that your people are out there. They're just waiting on you to follow through. Thank you.